Hello, everyone. Here we are, episode number 9, and the evolution of the podcast room keeps moving ahead. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm like obsessed with like tweaking and perfecting it.
It's pretty awesome. In just 9 episodes, look how far we've come.
Yeah, and the fun thing is, I think a lot of people think you need a ton of money and stuff to do a podcast. Everything in here is from IKEA, Amazon, or, my own house.
It's just how you put it together.
Yeah.
And Ryan is creating magic here. I love it.
Well, I mean, trust me, you can do a podcast with $30,000. I mean, you can, totally do it with Canon and Nikon and all that stuff. But, yeah.
Here we are. How amazing. And what is also continuing its evolution here is the ongoing corroboration of our Miami Ascension thesis.
Yes.
As we predicted. Yes, trademark. As we predicted, this story keeps writing itself because momentum cycles are very real things and they build and history does not go backwards.
It's true.
So we've been talking about while we're building positive momentum, our feeder jurisdictions are building negative momentum. And this is not Schadenfreude, somebody wrote on Ryan's Twitter. I grew up in New York City. I wish it well. This is just objective observation. We wish everybody well, but momentum cycles are a thing. And we had in the news today the mayor of New York, making some statements about New York's budget shortfall and assigning blame, or I would say hiding behind the migrant situation, attributing it to the migrants.
Yeah.
We actually covered New York's budget shortfall in a previous episode. Mm-hmm. Ryan had found this great data about, a study of cities focused on New York was showing how compared to other cities post-COVID. And there was a chart that showed New York's budget shortfall and Miami's being far, far less.
Yeah. Well, now we have they actually came out and say it.
Correct.
It was a large shortfall,
right? $8 billion.
$8 billion.
I believe it was. And they're saying that I believe the mayor Mayor Adams in his speech said something to the effect of, if there is no drastic change, that all these city organizations that he said, quote, New Yorkers rely upon, will have to have 5% decreases in whatever they're calculating. So it sounded very dire.
Yeah, and it was also they have to reduce things like education and police. It doesn't sound pretty. It
doesn't sound pretty at all. And honestly, this reality was there before their migrant situation. The migrant situation for sure did not help, but it did not create this reality. Yeah. And I think they're hiding behind it.
Well, I think it's just one of those things where you can it's a political potato that you can like hot potato that you can say, hey, I'm going to use this because it'll help people make sense. The layman of what's going on in the city.
Right, and they can say it's not their fault. It's not systemic.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When in fact, all these things with education and all else in New York City have been systemic for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think we were just talking before we started recording that it is interesting because Miami, the city itself, is sort of a de facto sanctuary city. Mm-hmm. It has been since the 1960s.
Correct.
It may be the original one.
Right. There's these different flows of different migrants have been sort of writing the story of Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, because, the Cubans came here in the 60s after the missile crisis.
The first wave, the Batista wave, yeah.
The Venezuelans, Argentinians. We've been in a sanctuary since 1960.
Yep.
And it has vastly improved the city.
Absolutely.
I think.
I agree.
And then you have, say, New York, which is basically second largest city in the United States.
I'm not sure.
Isn't LA the largest?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
the second largest, I think. And they're saying it's an emergency. They have all these people coming in.
And it's a sanctuary city, right? Which I always find to be a little bit of what's it called? Virtue signaling.
And before I get canceled, let me say, I think immigration is great.
I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born in this country.
Yeah. Immigration is fabulous.
Correct.
Everyone.
Correct.
And that's great. But it's just the government has made it a mess by just lack of action.
The government makes most things a mess,
yes.
Going back to that lack of accountability for actions by elected officials.
Yeah. And, I would say probably most of my friends in Miami are immigrants. They weren't born here.
Yeah, same. 100%. And that was the case when I grew up in New York City, too.
Yeah.
That's not a new thing. 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what changed, but I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Incentive structures.
Yeah. Incentive is wrong along the way.
Incentive structures, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's accelerating their budget shortfalls, and they're in negative momentum.
I just think, I don't want to go too far because I don't think canceled this week. But
Twitter won't cancel us.
Yeah. But it's, say it's Miami and places in Texas and Southern California and wherever, and the desert states. They have been dealing with this forever, and no one cared.
Correct.
And then New York City is Until it gets to New York City, no one cares.
Virtue signaling. I'm back to that. People care little about what happens in these border towns in Texas. Actually, Elon went and videotaped it all, showing the deluge of migrants coming in there, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And now New York is experiencing that reality for a very short period of time, relatively speaking, and it's a national disaster.
Exactly.
Hypocrisy. Virtue signaling and hypocrisy.
Yeah, there we go. I think I really just like when we start to get close to elections because you get this. Correct.
And this is part of what we've been talking about divergent realities increasingly coexisting in our country. It's just the phase of the empire that we're in. Yeah. And now we're, in addition to the wealth polarization, which was accelerated by COVID, we're getting geographic polarization because people are now moving in accordance to their abilities to move in their belief systems. Yeah. So I think this divergence will keep going. And on that topic too, we had Mr. Citadel, Ken Griffin.
We're just going to New York. That's like New York.
This is another well, he didn't come from New York actually, so okay. But this is just another corroboration of the Miami Ascension thesis. What did Ken Griffin say?
He said Miami could replace New York as the world's financial center. I actually have the story right here.
Yep, it's fantastic.
From the next Miami. I mean, he's with Bloomberg, but
Yep.
He says we will see how big Wall Street South becomes.
Exactly. And if we'll recall, there was it was in the Journal and Bloomberg maybe 2-3 months ago saying that for the first time since this has been measured, the 6 fastest growing southern states, of which Florida is one, now account for more of national GDP than the Washington, D.C., New York, Boston corridor. And they call that a shift in economic center of gravity. I've been saying shift in focus for 3 years. It's same thing. It's a shift. And it's inevitable. History never goes backwards. Yeah. New York was the capital of the pre-internet 20th century world, and here we are.
I this part. It says, Miami, I think, represents the future of America.
Isn't that wonderful?
Griffin said, incredibly vibrant economy. Mm-hmm. And, it's so interesting to me because I got here in 2017. Mm-hmm. And when I got here in 2017, people laughed at me. From the West Coast. My friends and family said, what the hell are you doing? And I know I told the story before and probably on this podcast, but I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus or something where I can predict the future, but, I feel I want to be, yes, I was right.
Exactly.
I want to do that. Yes, I was right.
Yeah.
I picked the place to be in the 2020s.
Correct.
In the United States.
You felt it somehow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And remember, folks, I know you most know this, but I did the entire West Coast from San Diego to Seattle. I did all of it. Every major city.
He sampled.
So I think people think I'm a West Coast hater and just off the cuff. Mm-hmm. No, I did it. I got the T-shirt and the pin and the traumatic stress from the weather in Seattle. I did it all. So it's not I don't have. And I lived in Chicagoland as a kid. I grew up in the Northeast. Really, the only places I haven't lived is Atlanta and the Las Vegas, Desert, Phoenix area. Mm-hmm. That's it. Those are basically the only places in the United States I haven't lived. And so I've done most of it. Mm-hmm. And Miami really is the best. Mm-hmm. And I talk to people. I can go on a rant about this. I meet people in my life who either lived here or they've been here for a while. Oh, I want to move to LA or whatever. And that's fine. You do what you feel is best. But I tell them, you'll be back. Unless you somehow make $1 million and whatever, you'll be back here. I have friends who have lived here in Miami for their entire life. Mm-hmm. They moved to somewhere else, mainly California. And they boomerang back in 3 years.
Yep.
Without fail.
100%. The quality of life is hard to replicate.
Especially now.
Yep, exactly. And it keeps getting better.
I would say before COVID, California may have had a little more stickiness.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
A little bit.
New York too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now.
No. It's clear. And all these stories we keep talking about, Bezos, Ken Griffin, all these things that the mayor of New York speech, these are it's just breadcrumbs. It's the story writing itself. It's all part of this shift in the country. Yeah. And remember, change is inevitable. So people, and what he said about the future of America, right? Yeah. So America is very much the land of the explorer and the entrepreneur. People got in crazy wooden boats and left everything they knew to get here. No, it's true. Yeah. And who knew if they could ever contact the people they left again? There were no telephones. They're going to send a letter. Who knows if it got there? So it took some balls. It took courage to get here. And that really is the story of America. Yeah. And the flow of kind of ingenuity, entrepreneurship, creation, it always goes somewhere, and it goes towards the paths of least resistance. And we have guys, Ken Griffin, saying that this is the future of America. What that means to me is that this is where that innovation is flowing. And remember, we have the highest per capita new business filings in the nation.
Yeah.
It's all part of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually set up my first Florida LLC last week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
He's added to that stat. Look at
that. I know. I do consulting, marketing consulting, so I needed one. I actually did need one, like an official one, so I set it up. And now I have a stack of letters from people who cater to LLCs this thick.
Yeah, same.
It's great. I got my mail today here at the office, and I had this much mail. It was great. But, I think there was some stat, maybe you know it. Didn't Miami have the highest number of small businesses or something?
That's what I'm saying, per capita filings, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, correct, in the nation.
Yeah, in the nation.
By large margin.
Yeah. And I think what you're seeing now is those businesses have tended to be non-tech, non-venture capital type things.
Right.
In the past.
Right.
But now, I think that's changing. I think you're starting to see, there's still work to do, but I think you're starting to see more of it.
100%. I think Stripe actually said that according to their data, we're one of the fastest growing startup hubs in the world.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that Miami, because I get this a lot. People are, Miami is just super early stage people with no product, no revenue. And I kind of bet because that's what Silicon Valley was once upon a time.
Of course, it didn't always exist either. Exactly right.
Silicon Valley started with people in garages and no products and whatever.
People lose sight of this and how quickly things can change.
Yeah. And so we may have a ton of early stage, just barely out of ideation companies.
But how cool is that?
But that's cool.
It's super cool.
And that will eventually attract the things that are needed around it. Yes. The venture capitalists and the infrastructure. I think it's in progress. We got a boost from COVID, which, was nice. But it takes 10, 15 years, 20 years.
A lot can happen in 20 years.
We just got a little boost. We got a 5-year bump.
Yes, we did.
From COVID.
We got an acceleration. It was like
Yeah. So we just have to take advantage of that and keep it moving forward.
And I think we will. And I think what's going to help us doing that again is, unfortunately for them, situations exacerbating in our feeder jurisdictions, as they keep calling them.
Yeah, I mean, if those people just keep misbehaving.
Well, they're going to double down on bad policies. So the mayor of New York saying, unless there is drastic change, we're going to have reductions, right? So what does that mean? There's not going to be drastic change. They've been on this path for a while. It's not going to all of a sudden about face and go the other way. And the other thing that caught my ear was when he said, for those New Yorkers that rely upon them, right? So I've been saying that when politicians double down on wealth taxes and obviously on losing positions in the face of population taxpayer exodus, it's because they're pandering to the growing percentage that does not pay in. Yeah. And that's exactly what he was saying with that statement. Yeah. And that's what they will keep doing. And that divide will keep growing. And they would build a wall if they could at some point.
To keep them in?
Yes. It's not a sovereign nation, so they can't close bank accounts. All socialist regimes do at some point.
Didn't California want to do
an exit tax?
An exit tax?
Yes, they keep talking about it. Correct.
Can you imagine?
Like, the fact that it's even spoken.
You want to move, so you got to pay me X, Y, and Z dollars.
Retroactive exit taxation. It's Looney Tunes.
It's just...
I know. It's incredible. I'm sorry, you can't do that.
And listen, we have our own problems. But, I always say this. Miami's problems are dramatic and manageable in your daily life for the most part. Speaking for myself. But it's a little bit of a telenovela with characters and drama and backstabbing and whatever. But you can manage it.
Yes.
It doesn't. If you're a normal person with a normal job, living a normal life, quotation marks.
Right.
You can
manage it.
You can
100%.
manage it. And I don't think I'd be able to do that in other places.
No, I agree.
You can't. There's some problems that just you can't manage. In Miami, you can manage our ridiculous.
Correct. You don't have to spend hours shoveling snow off your car.
That's a bonus, I think.
The shoveling of snow?
No. Of not doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes life more manageable. It all adds up to the stresses of life.
Yeah, it's funny. I know we've been talking about. So I officially moved last week.
Congratulations.
Or this week.
This week.
Oh, I can't even.
That's so exciting.
And my house is just a complete and utter disaster. I mean, just stuff everywhere.
It's moving. It's normal.
But I woke up this morning and I opened my shades and I just had this 180-degree view of the skyline and the port. And I was just,
What floor are you on?
33.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I have a direct east view of the port and all that stuff.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah, and it's nice. It's nice. It's really nice living in a condo building again. I have nothing against multifamily, but living in a condo building is nice. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
So, but no, I opened the door. Oh, yes. All this disaster is worth it.
Yeah. And that beautiful view. You see the city.
Speaking of condos, I pulled up a story here that I want to. This is from the Miami Herald. And it's about condo buyouts. And you can't see the picture here, but the picture was of Biscayne 21. And right over here in Edgewater. And Two Roads bought it. They're doing the addition there. It was very interesting because they talked to. I was just looking for your name here. I was surprised they didn't find you.
Alas, I'm not in that article. Although Rebecca San Juan she's a wonderful journalist. She's the one who did that profile on me earlier this year.
Okay.
Where the Herald followed me around for a week and did video footage of me in training, and also with Russell Galbert at Crescent Heights at Five Park. So she wrote the article about me.
Okay.
But I contribute to a lot of articles, but alas, not this one. Let's continue.
So it was a cool story, and they were talking about Surfside, aging buildings, and they talked to a bunch of realtors about this. And it was interesting because the gist from this was basically sell while you can.
Sell while you can?
Yeah, sell while you can. Don't be the last person standing. Because do you know the drama at Biscayne 21?
No.
So they got, 85% of whatever of the thing, but in Florida, 90% or something. I don't know. And the people who were holding out held out, and they held out, went to court, and the court didn't agree with them. And then they only got market price for their condos.
Interesting.
So they were paying 1.5, 2%, 2x market value, but then the holdouts who left out, they only got paid market value.
Interesting.
So it set a precedent for don't hold out. That was because
if it goes to trial, they might give you market value.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and market value on an old condo like that is not going to be.
It's not great.
It's not great.
Yeah.
So it was just a really interesting story, and then there was a lot of stuff about the reckoning we've been talking about for many episodes about the Surfside, the post-Surfside, about how people have to come to terms. These buildings are old. There's a lifespan on them, and they're going to spend either millions of dollars bringing them up to code or sell. Correct. If these buildings get red tagged or whatever, you're out of luck.
I know, and in reality, it's not a bad thing because obviously unsafe conditions can arise.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite an interesting, it was interesting. I finished the article, but I like this part. He said, this is a guy talking. He says, if the association brings everyone together, the developer will pay a premium because they didn't do the heavy lifting.
Correct. Make it easier for them and they'll pay.
If I was an HOA board and I had an aging old building, I'd be, listen up, people. Do you want to get paid? Let's get this handled.
Correct. Make it a sellable package.
Yeah, just because I don't know if you saw, but a couple months ago, people were fighting over, what's it called? The one down by Parisio, the old one in between Parisio and the sort of 19th century Park Towers or something down there at the end of Edgewater. There was dueling developers and then people who were holding out, and because they have a huge lot. It's this huge tower and a huge parking lot and tennis courts, so that they could build 3 towers there. But everyone's fighting over it. It's just, I don't know.
People in condo boards are...
Yeah.
It's herding cats.
I think.
But this is a good precedent then. Perhaps people can organize around this.
I know. It's here. So this is the driving force behind the condo buyouts is a combination of insurance spikes, reserve requirements, and mandated repairs that all resulted from the collapse of Champlain Towers South.
Yep. This is the part.
Condo terminations are going to be on the rise for the next 5 to 10 years. The simple reason is it is an effective way for the developer to purchase or acquire property at a desirable location. Developers are driving this because they want land. Yep. Waterfront land, mostly.
Exactly. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I thought the story was pretty cool because a lot of times when the Herald does these stories, they're very basic. A little old lady that was sort of...
I know.
Yeah, like the big bad developer versus the little old lady. But I like this one because it was just facts.
That's a good article. Shout out to Rebecca San Juan.
Yeah, it was a good article. Good job, Rebecca.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Like it. So yeah, it was. I thought that was interesting. I think the echoes of Surfside are going to be around for a long time.
Yeah. A long time. First of all, it was shocking. Buildings should not collapse in the 21st century in America. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's. I am always been a person who's been fascinated by disasters. Always have, whether they be natural disasters or mechanical engineering. I think it's fascinating. Like, not the morbidity of it, but the sequence of events. And the Champlain South is just so shocking. And I've researched all the disasters that you can think of. It's so shocking.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, there's precedent for planes crashing. Yep. Ships sinking. Yep. But a building in a first world country
it's
just collapsing is just...
It's absolutely crazy. So I did a lot of press around that time for that. The BBC interviewed me, some radio show, an article, and the BBC asked me if I thought that global warming contributed to it. I swear to God. I said, no, it's a 40-year-old. No. I said, if that was the case, other things would have been affected as well. It's the only one.
Yeah.
And I told them that it was a trifecta of negligence, incompetence, and corruption.
Yeah. I mean, that was a people-powered disaster.
Yes, 100%.
Sure, there's mechanical and engineering problems.
Wow, it shows the stupidity of people in groups.
Yes.
What they're capable of.
Well, I think that was all, the cocaine gold rush time in Miami. They were putting buildings together with toothpicks and...
Oh, no, I mean also the continuation of it with the Condo board being incompetent. All of it.
Absolutely.
What everyone's capable of in groups.
I mean...
Like, it's fine, everyone.
I mean, the developer was negligent.
Yeah.
The Condo board was... I don't even know what the word is for it.
I don't even know.
Like, that is, designing a poor building is one thing. Knowing... It's a difference. The developers, they put it up and just like, I'll be fine. But the HOA people knew it was bad, and they just
kept going. It's incredible.
That to me is insane.
Completely.
Like,
because they're living in it.
It's like it's living on the Titanic. And
it's fine.
It's sinking, but
it's not. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a little water. It's okay.
Oh boy. Yeah. It's quite interesting. I always look at it when I ride my bike or scooter around. I look at some of these old buildings around here. These scare me a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what? Luckily for them, listen, the buildings, regardless of the development going on, the buildings, many of them are in untenable situation. They're unsafe and cost a lot of money to repair. Okay. So luckily for them, there is this demand for product here, and they do have an exit. Okay. If there was not demand for product, they would have no exit. They would just be stuck with these old buildings. They can't live in anymore. Yeah. Now they actually have people they could sell them to. So, hey.
I was visiting a friend at South Bay Club in sort of by you, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Right by me, yeah.
And that building is kind of scary to me.
Oh, why?
Because I was looking up and there's a rebar on the balconies. Right. And the pool was nice. I had a great time with the pool.
Didn't they renovate it recently?
The pool was renovated.
The whole building, I thought.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Like, I'm saying, looking at some of these older buildings, I'm like, you all just need to sell. Like, it's like that, the South Bay Club.
It's an apartment building, I think.
If you... No, that's Westgate.
Oh.
Or Westgate Towers.
Okay.
That building is in a insane location. Mm-hmm. It has bay views and will never be obstructed as far as views.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of, never mind. Yeah.
And it's a huge lot.
Yep, huge lot. Expensive pool space, everything. Yep.
You could build 3 towers there.
Oh, easily. Yep.
And so start getting the papers in order. Sell. make double.
This is true. It's a great piece of land.
Yeah. Speaking of old buildings, finally, we're on next Miami here. Finally, they got a total demolition permit for One Bayfront Plaza.
What's exciting?
I know. They've literally been demolishing it with toothbrushes.
For a while.
For a long time.
Yeah.
They cleared out the inside. I swear they're taking it out brick by brick. 1 brick today, another brick tomorrow. It's just been astronomically slow.
Well, that's good.
It is. And it's funny. I saw earlier this week one of the Miami History Instagram accounts, and it was Miami 1960. This was the only building from the river to 4th Street. There was
nothing there.
There was nothing there. It was just the current One Bayfront Plaza.
How funny.
Yeah. And this building is so decrepit.
It is really decrepit, I know.
Even before they started demolishing it, it was really decrepit. But it's interesting. Florida Coast Realty has held on to this since they built it. They've owned it since 1958.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they're demolishing it and...
What's coming?
Super tall. It's going to be multifamily with some office.
Very good.
Yeah. So it'll be a huge improvement.
Huge improvement.
Because that is it's a prime location. It's on, what is over there? This is First, and then it's right next to the Southeast Financial Center. It's got across from Bayfront Park. And then on the back, it fronts, I don't know what's over there, Third something. But it's amazing location. And right now it's just terrible to even walk around. So it'll be a really big improvement.
That's great.
Yeah. So I am excited about that one.
That is super good.
It's going to take a long time, obviously. But
but progress is being made.
But I think it's multifamily because then there's no selling. It's just start building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't have to wait to hit certain reserve numbers or anything else. They can just go.
They can just go.
And introduce more housing inventory, which we need.
Yeah. Another big one, Amco at 3333 Biscayne Boulevard. Yeah. It's probably, I think that's lucky. That is where the Hamilton is up in North Edgewater. They're going to do 3 towers there. Like this project too, because it's 3 multifamilies and then 1 office.
Oh, nice.
Like a 12-story office right on Biscayne.
That's great.
So it's actually mixed use. You know, it's interesting. One thing I've noticed in Florida we don't do a ton of, we don't do truly mixed use projects. We do mixed use towers. They make, apartments and then some offices in it. And then you also have the Brickell City Center, which are actually mixed use.
Right.
But I used to live in Seattle. I actually lived in Bellevue, which is across the water. And they had a complex called the Bravern. And Microsoft had offices there. It was a very high-end, like Brickell City Center. And it was great but it was also open air. It was great because it literally had all the stuff. It had multifamily, it had condo, it had office, it had some mall and shops downstairs. Project this because you can literally mixed use everything that you need in one place.
Cool.
So yeah, that was a fun one.
What's the timeline on that?
They got utilities.
Okay.
Utilities usually mean they're about to start demolishing things. Yep. Oh, this one. Did I send you this one about Lofty 2 or 3?
No.
So were you here when they were proposing the Edge on Brickell?
Yes.
So this is the Edge on Brickell 2.0.
Okay.
So this is Lofty, and then this is the Edge on Brickell 2.0.
Got it.
So guys, just so you know, the Edge on Brickell site is this big.
Yeah.
2 of these 12 by 12 rooms across. Narrow. Super narrow. It's right on the water.
Hence it's called the Edge.
It was, yeah.
It was.
And that died, I think, 16 or something.
Like that.
Yeah. So
I don't recall. It just went away. I remember hearing.
Yeah, it went away. So the Lofty project keeps like morphing and getting bigger and adding things. It was originally 1 tower. They added a 2nd tower, which is to the south, and now they're adding to the east on that very skinny piece. But the cool thing is on this one, all the parking garage spaces are going to be in the other 2 towers.
Oh, and what will this be?
This is called. Good question. What's it called? It's called 2 Riverside.
And what is it going to be?
Oh, it's
782 residential units.
It's a building that's 50 feet wide.
So small units.
Small units.
That's good.
Yeah. So, No. That one, phase B is 169. That's this one.
Okay.
So they're going to be but they'll probably full floors, like right in the middle.
That's exciting.
It was exciting. Oh, this one in Brickell, not Brickell.
3-story commercial in Wynwood.
I can't talk. Wynwood, Moon Thai. Is that a restaurant? I'm not sure entirely, but it's a 3-story. And the cool thing is, my friend Aaron is designing this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Aaron DeMayo. Sorry. His company called Future Vision Studios.
Cool.
And he's doing some of the architecture and design work on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I love the.
It looks neat.
Yeah, it's I like when they put a little effort. And Aaron is really good. He does urban design.
It looks very in tune with the street, very walkable.
Yes. Yeah. That's what he does.
Yep, that makes sense.
Aaron also consults the city roads and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, I walked around, looked for an ice cream place recently around Wynwood Design District. It was great because you could walk between all the buildings. There are these cool little passageways with art and swings and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
And then another one, Edgewater. This is on. It's Amco as well. That's right across the street from the Hamilton.
So that's multifamily then also.
Yeah.
Amco.
So there are 4 towers coming to.
It's a lot of housing, boys and girls.
Right there. But yeah, the Whole Foods on South Beach.
I'm excited about that.
That's up like Dade Boulevard, right?
No, that's going to be in Alton and 17th.
Oh, isn't that where Dade Boulevard is though?
Oh, I don't know. I don't drive.
Like it's like the Venetian.
Yes, where it cuts across right by it. Correct. Never mind. Yes, I never go on that road because I usually walk around South Beach.
Yeah, I love it.
Correct. I'm excited about that. The current Whole Foods in South Beach is probably like the worst Whole Foods in the whole country.
Yeah.
Not to disparage them, it's a very small space. It's not their fault.
I also read that it's like it's the highest per like square
Square foot.
footage, like sales or something.
It's tiny, and it's the only one in South Beach, and we all
weird.
suffer with it because it's your only option.
It's so weird.
It's bizarre.
But this
and they always discontinue everything that I actually like because there's such limited space, and everything I like just goes away.
I love Whole Foods because I like their stuff, but I'll go there and get like 4 things, and they're like, your total is $120, and I'm like, I got potatoes and like water, and like it's $120.
Yeah, it's like I don't buy food with ingredients.
Okay.
I'm kind of like a food Nazi at home. I try to eat super, super healthy at home so that when people try to feed me elsewhere, I can actually eat something and not be a weirdo and say, no, I can't eat that. So when I'm at home, I just buy like eggs, greens, like fish. That's it. I'm very boring.
Okay.
But yeah, it's exciting, the new Whole Foods.
They restarted on 501 First. Finally.
Okay.
They had some issues. They went vertical without getting all their codes.
Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it.
So they were paused for like a month. And I was funny because since I went to work with you, I always think out with these places like how much money it costs per day, and they were paused for a full month.
That's crazy. Good job.
And I was just like that. I don't even want to think about how much money that cost them.
A lot. But I mean, what did they think was going to happen?
Well, who do you think they are? Who do you think they are? Mellow? Like only the building that I just moved out of downtown Fifth went vertical before they had any permits.
That's awesome.
And they just paid the fine and got the permits later.
Fantastic. They did some math and they said this would work out better.
Yeah, because like Mellow's whole thing is they build really fast.
Yeah.
So they're like, we'll just pay the fines.
Okay.
So.
Good to be them.
But the 501 First problem was that they didn't do fire codes or something.
Oh.
So that's kind of.
That's not good.
That's
no
kind
bueno.
of important. Oh, and then this. Look at this ridiculousness. I posted this last week. There are six potential towers in one block in Brickell.
Wow.
That is between Southwest 9th Street and between Southwest 1st Avenue and South 2nd Avenue.
That's crazy.
6 towers. What?
Who's control of the SimCities?
I know. I am.
That's what happens with Ryan. He's like, build more. Traffic. We'll have flying cars.
Yeah. I mean, that's how mine bills anyways. We're just like, oh, you know what? That reminds me. I saw a post on one of the comments next Miami about that exact thing, about traffic and building all this stuff. It's like, person's like, we can't do this. We don't have any transit. And then the other person, both anonymous, they were like, that's the thing with Miami. You have to cause pain in order for things to happen. Miami is not proactive.
I don't think most cities aren't proactive.
So like the person's like, build all the things, cause all the traffic, and the city people, the commissioners will have to do something at some point.
Fair.
So I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like build all the things and then they'll be forced to do it at some point.
That or flying cars.
Or flying cars. Oh, I parked my car in my new building for the first time. And it's interesting because my building, it's a condo building, but there's no assigned parking. It's just a free-for-all. You just park in the first available space, which is kind of random. I was like, wow, that seems like... Anyways, I don't care. I drive extremely rarely, so I can park on the top floor and not worry about it. So I have like my own space. But I looked at it, and almost the entire garage is flat, and the elevator corridor is in the middle. So they could convert it like tomorrow into offices or residential.
Yep, correct.
The ramps are like this big. On the sides.
This has been kept in mind by developers is the potentially disappearing need for parking.
Yeah, I was like, that's really cool. And it even has like windows. Like they built windows into the parking garage that are like regular windows.
So they were forward thinking to modifying the building away from parking.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I know. I was like, oh.
See, I can't drive. I'm ahead of my time.
Do you not have a driver's license?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I know. I'm a weirdo. I grew up in New York City, then I lived in Switzerland briefly, then I've been here, and I moved here right before Uber came. And I did briefly have a license, but I've never driven by myself, and I really can't drive.
Okay.
And it's for the best. I'm always in my head. I have no sense of direction.
I feel like maybe you should learn at some point.
I'd be like, Ryan, why is the car not starting? I'm like, where are you? I don't know, but it's not starting. Oh, wait, that little thing says E. It's on E. What does that mean?
I'm going to name the title of this podcast, like, all these updates, and today I learned Anna can't drive.
Correct. I really should. Bad things would happen.
Another interesting tidbit is My World Center retail is 90% leased.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
And I've sort of been watching. They have a very interesting sort of tenant mix. For example, Brickell City Center. It's beautiful and fun.
Right.
But some of the stores, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm sort of terrified to walk in.
It's a little random.
it's random and just so high end. It's like they're like show stores. I feel like
It's
they're
like a
not
museum. You're
it's like a
walking in.
museum.
Yeah, I know.
My World Center is interesting because I think they've been putting some thought into, because like they have this new gym that's sort of like an Equinox level. It's called Club Studio. It's by the parent company of LA Fitness, but it's like the very high end brand. And then they also have the Container Store. They have BurgerFi and these Coal Fire Pizza. They have like a cafe, and then they have like a bowling alley and a sports bar. The Ray-Bans are Lululemon, Sephora. So it's kind of like a mix of experiential and then like normal things. High end, but
They're
normal.
activating.
Like you'll actually get people going to Lululemon and Sephora and like Brickley Center. It's almost too high end for its own good. Yeah, it has gotten better though. When it first opened, it was all the stores were like, who's heard of them? Now they've sort of brought in some of like the Nike and like the Cole Haan, like some of the more approachable ones. But My World Center has really doing a good job of like sort of, they're gonna have a museum of ice cream there too.
Oh, nice.
So it's gonna be like a entertainment and then shopping, but not like the Sawgrass Mall or the Dolphin Mall.
Got it. It's a good mix.
It's sort of like in between. Like you're not gonna go to My World Center for deals.
Right.
But there's things out that you can actually use.
Right.
Which I think is highly convenient.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Any interesting project updates that you have been?
Off the top of my head, not so much.
Okay. Oh, also the Apple Store in My World Center. They are building and working on it. It's very much in progress. Okay. That is at the corner of 8th and 1st. Okay. And it's going to be that square is going to be a public square with like landscaping, and there's going to be an Apple Store in the corner. So it'll be a very nice. Hopefully, I'm really hoping it's like a dramatic architecture sort of point.
Which they've done in the past, so it might be.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they do something pretty cool with it. I was trying to think of anything else.
No, this is all just super positive stuff.
Yeah. It's things are happening, and like we're still. I know I say this all the time, but we're still announcing things are happening. People are pulling permits, like stuff's being built.
Other places are not building.
I just sent you that
they're
thing.
Selling, yeah.
I just sent you that thing that on your way over here about the people losing $100 million on office buildings.
Correct.
Correct.
Selling bulk replacement, losing. I know, writing them off.
It's really is just a wild.
It's momentum. It's super real. It's super, super real.
It's crazy cognitive dissonance, I feel.
Yep. And that's the phase of the American empire that we're in. It's going to keep going that way. I keep saying that, but it's true. It's going to keep going that way. It's just begun.
Oh, wow.
It's just begun. And when we get these symbolic figureheads moving here and making grand statements, they're the vanguard almost, even though people came before them. They're the most public. So in essence, they're like the vanguard, and they're making it easier for other people.
You have some exciting personal updates. You want to talk about what happened?
Oh, my cage match?
Your cage match.
It's everyone.
We're going to digress on real estate for a minute to talk about.
So I am my hobby that I do at a kind of professional level, because I'm an extremist, is a jiu-jitsu. So I train 2+ hours a day. I did 3 hours on Thursday. I train at least 2 hours a day at MMA Masters with the team there, with the professional fighters there. Okay. And I compete in tournaments in jiu-jitsu, but at my gym we have amateur fight nights. We have a lot of professional fighters, UFC people, and so forth. We also have some amateur fighters training on the team, and we have this called Premier Fight League. Every 3 months or so, there's a card at the gym, and they basically, it's a big facility. So they put tons of chairs. It's like a lot of people, like 100 people. They have the cage. They have ring girls. It's on pay-per-view, commentators. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And usually the fight card is mostly MMA, but they'll put kickboxing, other stuff, and they'll put grappling on it too. Okay. And so I had a grappling match in the cage. And it's the same rule set as jiu-jitsu. It just looks more dramatic. In regular tournaments, there's like a border, there's a line in the mat, so you out of bounds, they reset you back in the middle. Okay. In this case, you could fight off the wall. And so actually, I had a really I was proud of myself. It was a nicely executed judo throw off the wall. I had her up against the wall, and I threw her ass. It wasn't super
Okay, you need to tell who your opponent. You don't say who it is.
No, my opponent is a wonderful young woman. So if she hears this, actually, we become friends. I like her a lot. No, she's a great person. I like her a lot. But I'm going to say this as an inspiration point, not to disparage my opponent, who I think highly of, but my opponent was 22 plus pounds heavier than me and 22 years younger than me. And that is the truth. So I'm 42. She's 20 years old and about, significantly heavier than me.
I honestly would never guess you're 42, by the way.
Well, thank you. I turned 43 in a few weeks.
Yeah, we both. I
Well,
turned
you're
36.
much younger than me, so there you go. But yeah, my opponent, she was less than half my age and significantly heavier than me and has competed more than me. She's done a cage stuff before too. And this was not my decision. So Sensei Valverde, shout out to him. And he told me that they had what's called a super fight for me at the fight night, which means there's no weight class. When I heard that, I said, really? How much does she weigh? Because I knew he wouldn't give me a smaller opponent. I don't get that gift. And then I went to her Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, this girl's over 180 pounds. Are you serious? And Sensei's like, yeah, no problem. I said, she's a competitor. She wins all her stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so, yeah. And in fact, we had a rules meeting before we went out, and one of my teammates was in the UFC. Danny Chavez comes out to the rules meeting with me, and she's there with her coaches. And they're like, yeah, we're training for ADCC. Are you okay with anything goes? Like any submission, whatever. Ooh. And Chavez, my teammate, God bless him, doesn't blink. He goes, yeah, absolutely. yeah. And he's a fighter. Who's in the UFC? He's a tough guy. He's like, yeah, and I'm okay. And then like, smothering also. Smothering is where you could put your hand over the person's mouth and nose. It's not allowed in IBJJF. I believe it's allowed in ADCC. And he's like, he doesn't blink. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, all right. So all my guys knew that it would go the way it did. They're all like, you're the only one who's surprised. But he's like, yeah. And I told one of my other teammates, Miguel Baeza was also in the UFC. I told him that Chavez was like anything. And Miguel was like, yeah, I would have been like, whatever, do whatever you want. So I won.
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, I have IBJJF World Championships in Vegas in December.
Okay.
In my actual weight class. So
Nice. When in December?
December 7th and 8th.
Oh, wow.
In Vegas. So right after I turned, I don't do masters. I could choose to compete in my age group against women in their 40s.
Yeah.
I do not do that. So
like, give me these youngins here.
I train with boys in their 20s who are professional fighters. And God bless my teammates. They go hard on me as they should. So I should not compete against women in their 40s. It would be not fair.
Also, I'm not going to spill the tea now, but we're plotting a career expansion.
Correct, we are. It's going to be awesome.
So boys, keep an eye on this.
World.
Yeah, watch out. We're plotting something that I can't quite disclose yet, but
it's going to be fantastic. We're merging and amplifying our skills together.
Marketing skills and her
whatever it is that No, my expertise.
Yeah, expertise.
And something about combat sports.
Making men afraid.
But they like it.
I know. So that's
that. So I was laughing at myself. So I do laugh at myself. I don't take myself that seriously, thank God. But on my social media, I have my two posts next to each other. One, I'm at the Biltmore Hotel last week giving some dissertation on macroeconomic cycles, the Miami market. Right after the mayor of Miami spoke, I'm there like your charts behind me. And then the next post is me doing a judo throw off the cage wall with this girl.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. All right, folks, like I said, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I think, so our next episode is number 10.
Correct.
And is it going to be on our birthday week?
It might be.
I think it's our birthday week.
Yeah.
So we're going to try something special. Maybe we might do something live. I don't know. We're going to figure that out.
We'll have to figure out the date because if it's a birthday, I'll be in Vegas on the Friday. I don't know if it's the Friday before. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
And we'll do a...
Well, thank you guys for listening. It's always wonderful.
Exciting times.
We just have fun.
This all keeps evolving, and it's fantastic. Just like Miami's evolving, we're evolving. The podcast is evolving.
And it's like, I think we hit like 100 downloads or something a couple last week.
Yeah, you posted.
And I'm just like, that's
How cool
great.
is that?
I'm like, that's great.
People listen to us.
People listen to us. It's like, honestly, I'd be happy there was 5.
Exactly.
If like I said, this is something that we both like to do. We don't have sponsors yet, unless you want to.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. We like sponsors. So if you want to hit us up, that would be great. But anyways.
Get us some matching palm tree prints. We're happy.
So I can really upgrade the rest of this. But if you want to sponsor us, let me know. But yeah, this is just fun. I like talking to you. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yay.